One night, I was with a couple of my friends. They had asked me if I wanted to go for a drive out of town. I said sure, why not? But for some reason, they were really happy that I had said yes. I'm really not sure why though. We decided to drive up to the mountain range. It was an hour and a half away from town. The boys were really happy, being idiots in the car. It made me laugh and we were having a good time. The road would soon turn to dirt, so one of my mates asked me if he could drive. I said yes, but don't do anything stupid. It was night time and we were in the middle of nowhere now. I didn't want to get stuck or stranded. After another 15 minutes of driving, we finally reached the lookout. As it was night time, you really couldn't see anything, just random lights off into the distance. We got out and walked around. Of course, there was no one else there. We were there alone. It was a bit chilly up there, so we decided to get back in the car. We sat and talked for a good hour. My mates were talking about the stupid things that they had done in the past and just recently. I started to get a bit nervous. What had they been up to when I wasn't around? Apparently, a few nights prior, my mate had something to do with a break-in that happened at one of the automotive stores. He didn't do the deed, but he was there. Because my mate had already had a record, this was not going to look good for him. My other mate was worried as well. What was he worried about? What did he do? After talking and letting things loose, we decided to start heading back towards town. It was getting really late now, and I was tired. I let my mate drive again, and I ended up falling asleep in the front passenger seat. My mates were talking about their fates. They were actually freaking out now. My mate who was driving was really quiet and concentrating on driving, but my other mate couldn't stop getting upset. I awoke to us being back in town, and we were driving past the boat marina, and I had seen a few cars parked there that we then recognised. We kept driving past though, but not long after that, the cars that were parked now started following us. We drove over to Red Rooster and parked in the car park. It happened to be my mate's friends, some being a part of the break-in, actually. I just stayed in the car while everyone else was outside talking. This was going on for another 10 minutes or so, when all of a sudden, 2 police cars sped into the car park and pulled up. They arrested my mate and a couple of his other mates. They were soon taken away. My other mate ran back to my car and got in. He was freaking out to the max. I told him to calm down, and we ended up leaving the car park. It was about 2 a.m. in the morning at this stage, and my mate and I were just driving around town in shock. I mean, we knew it was going to happen eventually. I just didn't think it was going to happen while I was around, or even that soon. My mate tried to tell me that someone there had actually called the police. But his mates were there. Why would they do that? He explained to me that not all of the cars at the marina had followed us. 2 of them stayed. I then started to catch on to what he was trying to say. After sitting at the beach for a little while, I then decided to drop my mate home. As it was early hours of the morning, I was overtired and I needed sleep. As I drove up to my mate's street, we could see an alleyway up ahead that joins onto his street, just behind the local shops. My mate looked and seen a car parked there. Kinda looked like a police car. My mate started freaking out again. Then all of a sudden, the car lit up and sped up towards us. The car stopped and 2 police officers got out and arrested my other mate now. I just sat there and watched. I was wondering if they were going to arrest me, but they didn't. The police driver said to me, "Go home, there was nothing more to see here." I was wide awake again now, and I was shaking. I left the scene. I drove home as quickly as I could, in the shock that I was in. I got home at about 3:30 a.m, so I wasn't going to get much sleep. I was feeling sick in the guts at this point. My two close mates had just been arrested. I now know why they wanted to leave town, to buy themselves more time. I still don't know exactly what my mates actually got done for, but all of that faded away over the next year or so,